Just imagine, it's 2020, it's April 1st, and the developers released the stunning April Fool's Snapshot 20W14 Infinity. But what if I told you that not just one snapshot was released that year, but two? The guys from the Minecraft Comands team decided to team up and create their own April snapshot, which is no worse than the official one. Let's find out more about the snapshot. Let's take a look. Let's start with the structures. They've added a decent amount of them here. The first one is the Temple of Pufferfish. This giant white building looks like a church. At the entrance you can see a beautiful stained glass panel window in the shape of a pufferfish. The building itself consists of two parts, a temple and a giant aquarium, in which a small pufferfish seems to be swimming. Inside the temple there are two banners, and what do you think is on those banners? Pufferfish, of course. When I first entered the temple from afar, I thought it was the flag of Kazakhstan. In the center of the temple there is a chest with an original pufferfish in it. If you eat it, you can get all the effects of the enchanted golden apple and the increased number of hearts. Next in this world you can find full-fledged volcanoes. Yeah, the same ones that should have appeared a long time ago. The developers once promised to add them to the game. So here they appear in every biome, consisting of blocks of stone, slate, and magma. Sometimes you can find ores, but most importantly, there's treasure in every volcano, which are guarded by blazes that appear from the spawner. Under the spawner there is a dropper where you can find various bags of loot. We'll talk about them a little later. Sometimes if the player is close to a volcano, there'll be a message in the chat that the eruption is about to begin. This will be followed by the sound, and the volcano will spew out giant magma cubes. In this world you can also find a huge desert temple. It's true that it's generated all over the world. It's completely built of sandstone, and at the entrance there are two sphinx statues. Inside the temple there's a lot of lava. It spreads from the very top and reaches all the way to the bottom. At the top of the temple there's a golden sphere, in which there's a treasure chest. Inside the chest there's a stack of codfish and one cat summoning egg. Then there's this bug nonsense. In fact, this is a satire on the bug due to which the villager's house can be generated so high. This can happen if the village is generated in the ravine. In such a cabin lives a Fletcher, and he sells fish blocks, chain command blocks, a bowl of Minecoins, it's the in-game currency in Bedrock Edition, summoning eggs of pufferfish, and Seker. We'll talk about him a little later. As depressing as it is, there's also a graveyard in this world. In it, there are always only 5 graves, each of which is responsible for a command that has been either removed from Minecraft or changed. Among them are Toggle Downfall, it was responsible for disabling bad weather, Stats, it was responsible for entity or block execution statistics, Test 4 counted the number of entities with specified conditions. Entity data and block data changed data text to blocks or entities. All of them were removed in version 1.13. The creepiest structure is the flying island with command blocks. On it you can find 3 command blocks with buttons. The first one will give out a poison effect, the second one will provide levitation, and the third one will give regeneration. There's also an ender chest and a regular chest with random loot. The scariest thing is the snake of command blocks. As soon as it notices the presence of a player, it immediately comes to life and tries to obliterate the one who disturbed it. In general, it stalks the player in order to suffocate him. How to get rid of it, I have no idea. The last 3 structures are very similar in design. They're dungeons. The first one is the smallest. On the surface it looks like a small room, but underground it's just a large labyrinth with different rooms and chests of loot. The second one, the middle one, looks like a small tomb. Basically can be characterized as a crypt. There are several hallways underground where you can find skeleton spawners and chests. The third one, the largest looking structure, is an abandoned temple. There's almost nothing underground except for a small room with a creeper spawner and a chest. Now we can move on to other things. For example, the panorama of the main menu. It has been changed to match the Bedrock edition of the game. 4 years ago there was just such a panorama, which was timed to the update of villagers and pillagers. There are also 2 unusual buttons in the main menu. Marketplace. Clicking on it quits the game, so it's just an exit button. Such a delicate trolling. The second button, Realms Plus, is a subscription service in which, in addition to the server, player also gets access to paid add-ons from the marketplace. If you go in, you're gonna see a static picture with invitations to Discord server of the creators of the snapshot. Then the sun and the moon were remade. What do you think they put instead? That's right, pufferfish. They're all over the place, even the resource pack icon for the snapshot has a pufferfish on it. Here's a shield in the game. It's certainly cool, it protects us from direct damage from hostile mobs and explosions, but what about the other threat, the sun? Even if it's in the form of a pufferfish, direct sunlight is bad for your skin. That's why Sunscreen is available here. If we take it in the active hand or place it in the shield slot, we got the fire resistance effect. All existing paintings have also been redesigned. 6 of of which are pufferfish in one way or another. 4 paintings are the first mobs that players could vote for in 2017. All the others are either memes or just pictures, as in the case of Minecoins, or art for the official April Fool's snapshot. I like the glint effect of enchantments in Minecraft. It gives items elegance. But in this snapshot, it has been changed, and instead of enchantments glint, we're gonna see only the texture of pufferfish. They're all over the place. Told you. Every one of us knows the story of how Striders came to be, right? In case you forgot, I remind you. Minecraft players were asking for boats that float on lava. But obviously that would not be canon, and King B-Dogs decided to create a mob to help ferry across the nether. This snapshot went further and still added obsidian boats that can actually float on water. When you get in them, they have a fire resistance effect. And what about elytras? I mean, they've been outdated for a long time. Imagine you find a stronghold, enter a portal, fight and defeat the Ender Dragon, and then go to look for End City. Once you find it, you climb to the very top and reach the ship, inside of which, instead of elytras, there's a jetpack waiting for you. Huh? How about that? It's awesome. Jetpack works very simply. Pressing the spacebar activates the jump, and the player rises. And if you press shift, the player will hang in the air endlessly. The durability of the jetpack is not wasted. Falling and crashing will not be possible. The effect slow falling is automatically imposed on the player. Of course, Jetpack is not the only device for flying in this snapshot. There's something like a Skyship. Basically, it's just a ship tied to a leash to a boat. If you place it on a hill and then start floating, then at the end of this hill, the player will not fall, but will float as if in the air. If you get off the boat, he'll remain hanging in the air. As for me, completely perfect and even logical thing. I hope they add it to the vanilla game. Minecraft with Dynamite? Past age. Better look at the Dynamite Duper. It's a new form of transportation that will help you dupe dynamite several times. By placing it on any rails, it activates automatically and releases several charges of dynamite until it's destroyed by the explosion. The thing is that on the bug tracker, this is a website where every player can report a bug in Minecraft, there were several weird messages about some sort of entity called Seker in the game. It said the following: Seker is a shadow-like creature that will watch you in the dark and attack you. The only place they can be found is near the Sekernite. They guard the Sekernite because they are the eyes of their masters. Pretty cool, huh? Of course, this bug has already been removed, but in honor of it, the Seker was added to the game. This is a regular zombie with applied effects if you look at it without a resource pack. In general, a creepy mob. As soon as he sees the player, he immediately tries to destroy him. The funny thing is that I have not even met him. I only summoned it from an egg that I bought from a villager. Sekernite, which was mentioned in the air, is a regular gold. It can also be mined and used to create Sekernite armor, tools, and weapons. In general, it's gonna look the same. I'll say even more. All blocks or items where gold was used will be remade to match the Sekernite. As soon as the player equipped the entire set of armor, he's gonna have the following effects: glow, speed, jumping, and strength. The pickaxe will also apply haste effect. If you played old Minecraft, very old Minecraft, you have seen a very unusual glass texture. It was transparent, but it had too much detail. In this snapshot, this glass has returned. There are even glass panels. Now I'll look at them and see something very attractive. I don't understand what it is. At night, as always, there are monsters that want to destroy the player, and they also added zombie giants, which partly received artificial intelligence. They still do not burn in the sun, and as soon as you approach them, the giants begin to jump up, and when landing, they create explosions, which do damage to the player. You think the pufferfish thing is over, right? Not at all. If you summon this fish with a summoning egg, it will emit a glowing effect. And if you summon a dolphin on land, it will jump until it jumps very high, and the pufferfish drops out of him. Yeah, I'm gonna pass it without commenting. While we were first shown the bundles in October 2020, on April 1st of the same year, they have already been added in this snapshot. Bundles can be found in every dungeon chest, and they have several variations. Bundle with delicacies will drop different kinds of food. There is also a bundle with bags of dynamite. If you open them, other dynamite bags are gonna drop. Wow. From which, in turn, activated dynamite is dropped. That's not all, because there is a bundle with loot from the shipwreck. It's not hard to guess what drops from it, but what was my surprise when I saw the arrows with pufferfish? When they hit, they poison the player. But in the monster bundle, there's something insane. The drop is usually blocks of lapis lazuli, redstone, diamonds, emeralds, coal, and iron, but most importantly, monsters. They can be a variety of combinations. A ravager riding a strider, a wolf riding a skeleton, a small phantom on a large phantom, and so on. The last one I could find was a bundle from the fortress. Everything you can find in the fortress drops from it. Remember the bowl of Minecoins? Well, if you throw it away, it'll drop Minecoins that will reach out to the player. After all, it's a kind of bubble with experience. Even the sounds are pleasant. If you're suddenly afraid of falling from heights, you'll definitely find the next thing useful. I'm talking about an umbrella. It looks quite stylish, but as I think, it's created from wood. Its main feature is that it automatically gives the player who holds it the slow falling effect. So with it, you can safely explore mountainous terrains without fear of falling. Remember, I once told you about the fact that in older versions of Minecraft, there was the ability to create chainmail armor. But in order to do this, you'll need to use blocks of fire. You can't get blocks of fire without the creative menu. In this snapshot, this problem was solved. To get this block, you just need to set fire to any block with a flint and steel, and then hit the fire with your hand. What's the result? You'll get a block of fire, which you can later place on the block once more, and then break it, and then again and again and again. In addition, a lot of blocks were redesigned. They got, let's say, a new model. Now they're not rectangular, but round. Yeah, if you suddenly didn't like the cubes, you can relax. To be honest, it looks very funny and unusual. Of course, I prefer full-fledged blocks, but for the sake of a joke, it's worth it. Arrows, by the way, behave very strangely. If you don't hit an enemy, they will ricochet off the wall and jump away from the blocks as if they were made of rubber. So if you shoot at someone, you need to be prepared that the arrow can fly back at you. I've had that happen a few times with an arrow from Pufferfish. Weird question, but still, would you like to have expanded barrel storage? If so, this snapshot also tried and made it like this. I don't know who needs that much space, but these are not working slots, they're just a texture. I guess it may be a hint to the old bugs with chests. Remember, at the beginning of the video, I showed you the structure in which there's a golden orb. Well, in this structure, there's a chest in which there's a cat summoning egg. When you use this egg, a cat will show. It will be glowing, but if you look closely, it will have the texture of a pufferfish. By the way, it's not exactly an ordinary orb, it's kind of enchanted or something. If you place a torch in it, it'll start to duplicate itself when destroyed. I've tried placing other blocks, but nothing comes out. It only works with torches. Now let's go to the end. After all, here it differs from the vanilla version of the game. Firstly, once the player gets into it, the effect of blindness is applied, and the end itself is a very strange place. There are no pillars with crystals, and instead of an island, there's a huge hollow cave. The portal to the overworld is immediately available to the player. The dragon does not need to be killed. In the center, you'll find not Ender Dragon, but a red dragon. The way he flies, I mean, it's really weird. He flies backwards and shoots not the fireballs, but magma cubes at the player. It looks very funny. After killing this dragon, he'll automatically revive after a while and start attacking the player. If the player jumps into the portal, then instead of Ends poem, he'll only see credits in which the names of the creators of this April Fool's snapshot are written. The coolest thing about this snapshot is the space rocket. Sometimes you may get lucky and in the volcano you can find a control panel and a special book with the scheme of building this rocket. It's not difficult to build it, you'll need not so many blocks. By placing this panel in the middle, activating and pressing the start button in the chat, it starts flying. In the end, it arrives at the planet where it crashes. As soon as the player recovers, a giant pufferfish flies up to him and starts singing a song. How to install this snapshot? It's simple. I left the link to the archive in the description, download it. You need to install Snapshot 20W13A, and from the archive you need to get Resources Pack and Data Pack. Resources Pack should be installed as always, and Data Pack should be copied to the newly created world, into the Data Pack folder. Then as soon as you go into the game, you can see all the wonders of this snapshot. Of course, I didn't tell you about everything. I left the content specifically for those who want to look for various Easter eggs and references. Believe me, there are a lot of them here. What do you think about this April Fool's Day snapshot? I think it's hilarious. While you're waiting for the next video, I recommend watching these. They're also very interesting. Subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and hit that notification bell. See you in the next one.